Slurpcast!
Slurpcast TV is on the air. I'm not hosting anymore after this episode. I'm now the executive producer of Slurpcast. I'm going to take a behind-the-scenes role. I'm not going to do any editing. I'm not going to do any work. However, I will be in charge of all decisions made in perpetuity for all things part of Slurpcast Studios, LLC. And Biron's probably the new host. He might have a, celebrity death match to see if he actually wins that title or not.
I concede.
Yeah, just like Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
Same
Only
thing.
if I have to play that rummery guy.
Yeah. Well, let's get into Chaos Cup highlights. Mike, have you not changed yet or what?
No, not at all.
Do you still smell like 160 unclean ones?
This will be the last time I get to wear the shirt, so you know.
So when you retire from teaching, part-time at Foot Locker still a possibility?
Oh yeah.
Women's section.
Yeah, well, you already got the shirt.
Nah, I don't want to deal with women's feet.
Speaking of feet, can we discuss the amount of people wearing sandals that really, well, I don't think anyone except that's male should wear sandals to start with, but it's always the last person that should wear sandals that wears sandals to
One
public.
guy had no shoes on at all.
Yeah.
I'm fine if you're wearing sandals. Not really, but it's better than being just walking around barefoot.
I think it's gross. I mean,
I was going to go to the dollar store and get like they have sometimes old school games like jacks and just throw jacks everywhere on the carpeting. Caltrops, if you will.
yeah, that's human caltrops.
Just get some D4s, throw them
Yeah.
down, you know.
Yeah.
Take a Lego set and just smash it on the
I was
floor.
gonna say.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising. Well, not really surprising. It was just kind of gross seeing that. Well, let's get into all of that. Biron, this is your first Chaos Cup. Why don't you tell me your experience getting into everything?
It was surprisingly a good experience. I think it helps when you start going to the lower tables. Is that generally accepted that you're away from the tryhards?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but there's always some tryhards at the lower tables that are pissed off though.
Yeah.
Like
Not
they're
at
mad that
table,
they're
not
there.
at table 77 of 80 though.
There's a lot that are like, it's like I fucking shouldn't be here right now. All my friends are one room over.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
they're not your first off, they're not your friends. They're the guys you rode with. That's number one. Two, one room over is not a big deal.
Yeah, I was gonna say one room over is still almost bottom of the barrel. Although I was surprised to see, like, you know, Jim Morgan in that bottom room. Although he did get most touchdowns, so, and Matt Jane got most improved. So
Was he in the hallway bad though, like I was?
no,
Okay.
but he was in the admin room, and you know he's a former Slurpee Bowl winner, so
Oh,
he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's an old timey Blood Bowl coach from the
Oh, yeah.
old Extreme and Mike series of tournaments where they
Played
was
in the
like,
aughts with the
What?
dinosaurs.
the dinosaur era.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the dinosaur definition? Is like
Anything pre 2016.
Yeah,
is there a NAF number that like below though?
You could probably narrow it down to a NAF number that happened before the re-release.
I went over to the Reichland Reavers batch of game sheets and showing off my 154 NAF number, and I could have gotten my dick sucked if I wanted to,
Mhm.
based on my low number.
It was there for you if you wanted it.
Like that's how excited people were to be in the presence of a fucking 3-digit.
I thought it was kind of cool separating the teams by NAF numbers like that. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, I will tell you that Biron, when they were making those announcements, Biron didn't want to listen. So we just had our own conversation because he wanted to be that kid in class.
Yep.
Not listening, even though I wish I would have listened because
Yeah.
I didn't know what was happening.
I had no idea there was any kind of correlation. I thought it was random.
Yeah.
no.
No, there was a whole thing.
So is
So
it
they-
Reichland Reavers and Gouged Eye were the lowest NAF numbers?
Yes.
Yeah, and then it went basically just in groups of 8 or not 8. 20 groups of 20 math.
I was every time I went to the batch of game sheets, I was like, where are my old heads at? And then like I saw some other old heads and I didn't want to be friends with them.
Mhm.
I'm like, ah, shit. I forgot oldies aren't always goodies. You know what I mean?
I knew you guys weren't going to win.
Why?
Too old.
Oh, just in general?
Yeah, I knew you guys weren't going to win the team competition, the Reichland Reavers.
Because the coaches that go into it were all too old.
Yeah,
They're not ready to learn new strategies.
yeah.
We're still doing cage, right? That's like.
I learned setting up the cage on the sideline is dumb.
Yeah. I'll go through my matches in a sec, but I had a killer cage at one point. I was like, come get me. How about I don't leave the spot? You come and get me. And then when you commit, I go the other way.
Mhm.
Tell you what I'm doing. I'm playing face up, Biron style. I'm telling you what I'm doing. So Biron, it's your first one. You had a good experience.
First and last.
First and last, yep. You want to run through? How do you want to do this?
Well, let's still do game one.
Okay.
Ours will be quick because the odds were against us. We only had a 50-50 shot, but JP and I played in game one.
Sometimes it comes up heads, you know.
Yeah.
Was it, yeah, 2 heads are better than 1. Was it, did we do the math? Was it 0.5%?
Alex gave us the math, but Alex is also mentioned he was struggling with math
Yeah.
in college. So
He's like, I
If it
want to
was
teach
purely
math, but-
random and just 2 people, it was 15%. So
15. I think that's,
that's too high.
it has to be done based on first round, because that's the only random one.
Mhm.
So not taking 6 games.
I'm
into
just
account.
saying, if it were random, if you the math gets way too complicated if you have to take in skill levels.
No, if it's first round, it's 1 out of 160 or
Yeah, 1 out of 160 would be less than 1%, right?
It's not 1 out of 160.
1 out of 159.
There was 159 possible opponents for me.
you chose,
It's about 50%. I looked it up.
Yeah.
you chose a bald fuck.
Bald fuck on bald fuck action.
BF v BF. And
And
how that, so go ahead.
and as JP noted, I was not playing as a goof. I was trying to do the right things most of the time. Didn't always do it, but it wasn't out of dumbness or out of meanness or trying to throw the game or anything. So yeah, Griff is tough. Dwarves are not a good matchup for Wood Elves typically.
Yeah.
So
You
yeah,
know, if you would have scored 1 or 2 early on, it's up to me to catch up. That's how those games go. If I feel like I have control over the game, it's never going to work out for you. And so that's kind of how it goes with Wood Elves. It is I think they're awesome to play in tournaments, but it's, you got to just get in, vote often, vote early.
Mhm.
You know, you guys got to get in there because you're not going to survive. And then in this case, tackle's going to catch up to you.
and I thought we were at table 54. It was the Urlacher table. Thanks to all the billboards about his growing hair stuff on the way in.
Yeah.
And I'm
Side
like, this
note-
is. I thought
Side
this
note,
was
I
the
actually-
highest table I was going to get to, but it wasn't. Actually,
I
it got to a better table.
got to talk to Urlacher a couple of years ago, and I brought up how I said, "Hey man, big fan. I shaved my head because of you, and now I saw your billboard and you have hair again." And so I was thinking about dressing up as you as Halloween, putting a wig on, and he didn't even fucking reply. He's like, "Oh, you have a bad connection." I was calling into my friend's sports show. I'm like, "No, you heard the question."
Yeah.
He didn't
Yeah.
want to reply. It's kind of bummed. But yeah, I think we had there was a good room there, good room to start in.
Yep.
I threw a little tic-tac-toe up on the board. It took about 12 hours for someone to throw an O on there. It's like these fucking gamers walk by essentially an open table to play,
Mhm.
a nice game of chance, and we don't want to play.
Since you brought your field that's old school with smaller squares, we were able to play north south the way God intended, or the way
Yeah.
Madden intended.
Or
Yeah.
Nuffle.
But yeah, the small squares are kind of rough sometimes if you have the newer GW models.
Yeah, there was a little bit of hangover on each side.
Mhm.
We each had one minor spaz out but
Yep.
only one tile came up.
Yep.
So
And it was nice having the real estate on the left and right, but I quickly adapted to just sliding my sheet under the board, the field,
Oh.
and be able to see my stuff.
I don't do that at all. I usually take up as much, like I try to get to my table before the other group.
And stake your claim.
Claim over 50. I usually try to claim like roughly 58% of the
Mhm.
table right off the bat. I'll put like my bag upright, little beyond the halfway point. Just to,
You'll
like,
open your bag and take the foam out and spread it out even
I
further.
just, no, I give them the illusion that they get half, but I actually looked at it. It's not half. It's the initial illusion that, well, he's on his half, I'm on mine. I'm like, that's right. Don't fucking look at it any longer because you're not going to like what you see. And by then it's already too late. So usually 58% of ownership there.
So that was a 2-0 blanking I got from Griffin, his dwarf buddies.
Yep. Okay. Mike, how was your first game?
Oh, it was great.
What'd you do?
I wandered around. I looked at everyone's teams.
I learned quickly that whenever we had a question, I go, let's go ahead and roll and see if it matters.
Yeah.
Because the rest were
Sorry.
you and Kilowog, so it's like that's a lot of ground to cover for two.
I will say about 80% of the questions I was asked, like legit rules questions, were about passing. So
I gave up the passing game after game 2.
yeah.
I played against we'll get to it, a human team that passed a lot in that game, but I don't think passing is that. People are like, oh, I don't pass anymore. Some teams still do.
I like the option in emergencies. Like I did some emergency passes to try to catch it.
I still saw a lot of it in my, a decent amount of my games, especially the teams that were ready for it. But
It's actually harder to intercept now because it used to be a 1 in 6 chance. Boom.
Now for an interception, and I was always curious about, does the ball have to cross path with another player?
The passing template has to cross path.
Template. Okay, so if you do run into there's no if you have an open, what is it, like 2 or 3 squares wide? Is that roughly where it measures? Trying to think. Yeah.
So I had a situation, one of my games. I'm X, my opponent's O. He passed thrower, catcher. Do I get an interception?
If you're right next to it, yes, right? Or do you have to be in front of him?
Which one's the
thrower to catcher?
No.
Straight line, I'm there. Okay, I did not take it. I said, I don't think so. I said, I don't really care. So
you just give the negative for being next to it.
If you are not closer to the thrower than the catcher is, which you are not, then no, you do not get it.
Oh, you gotta be good. That makes sense.
That makes sense, but was that always a rule or no?
Yes.
Okay. For some reason, I remember getting a bunch of bullshit interception attempts against me with somebody next to it. Like, well, the template's touching it. Like, yeah, but you're not closer. Like, yeah, but I'm the same away.
But who the hell's bringing that stupid spiky turd of a template? That's so dumb. It should just be it should be just this many squares or whatever.
If the argument is just that it's under the template, then you could say, well, the template goes beyond the receiver and I'm under it back there. So
yeah, that could be clarified, I think.
Also, I think it clarify if it's a long bomb, can you go beyond the template extreme?
I don't know, but that joke never gets old.
It doesn't.
I think
it's like Brian's
dinosaurs.
joke
It
about
will live
Cubs. Never
forever.
The Cubs are undefeated.
Yes,
I
the
think
Cubs are undefeated. Brian doesn't know how to throw a long bomb.
I want to make like a version of the template where I cut off the last band and I make it like extendable for you.
I'm gonna make one that I play with it and it gets grows.
Oh yeah,
Not
like
much, though.
it's
It's just a square though.
Yeah.
What can you push in the fat mountain at the base of the template to make it longer?
Did you say Fat Mountain?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's that pouch of fat right above your pee.
I'd like
It's
to
called
hire
that Koopa, by the way.
Fat Mountain one day. That sounds
The
fun.
man peach.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we had any rules questions. It was nice. I think Chaos Cup's a good starter tournament because chances are everyone you play has way more experience than you and will answer your questions.
Yeah, I actually surprisingly found as I got to the somewhat higher tables that there were still people that were more inexperienced than I thought at those tables. So, it's like that thing we
You
talked
think
about.
they're video game players that the video
I don't
game
know.
does all the math?
Extreme, we talked about a little bit on lunch, the idea that when people talk about it's all luck, it's like, well, then why is Vanderbeek and Saul and Brian too consistently always on top tables at every tournament they go to? You can't tell me it's all luck. However, there are people at higher tables that seem like, how'd you get here?
And there are people at lower tables that are like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ken Washington game 4 was playing Gary Bonarek. So what the fuck is that?
Gary Bonarek?
Yes.
Gary's married to Phil?
No. Yeah, Bonner. No. Gary Bonner, sorry.
You missed out. You moved away. The gamers started marrying each other.
Crumble is just one big polygamous mass. So yeah.
Awesome.
Like kind of like a Zoot Suit party.
Yeah, exactly.
We call that a Zoot Suit riot right there.
Yeah.
But there's no women.
Yeah, no women.
No women allowed.
Boner Rex the name, Wrecking Boners is the game. I like it.
Sorry. Anyways.
I did find myself doing a lot of like when you get in the turd crunch in a big pile in the middle where I'm doing like this. I'd go 2-die block ? They go, no, 1-die, gotcha. They go, yeah, or they go, yes, 2-die.
Yeah, I made it a point. I really had to look at every single guard, like who has guard, who's block. You have to look at all that because I learned overall that one thing that's a positive is I found that a lot of people played faster than I remember. On the other hand, but on the other hand, they're missing assist or rolling. I'm like, whoa. I don't even know what you rolled. Don't care. Take it back. Pretty sure it's a 1-die. Let's take a second and look at it. So it's like almost the negative to me complaining about slow play for years is fast rolling. And wait, I think I'm pretty sure that was a 1-die right there. So
I kept on saying, does Dodge help me here?
Extreme, how's your first game?
First game was against Fabian, a Frenchman fighting out of North Carolina.
Is that Coach's guy?
Coach's bottom?
No, not that one.
Like,
same name.
Take the fall in round 3. Yes, sir.
So he was playing Necro. I was at table 77 for my random draw out in the hallway.
Oh, that's where I was for my game too.
Yeah. So yeah, we had a really good game. It was one of those big thinker games where evenly matched coaches and both playing good teams. And then there was one turn that I still don't know why, but I made like 3 coaching mistakes in the same turn. And
That's amateur hour. I can make 4.
It was. I was kind of upset about it. I kind of gave the game away. He ended up winning 1-0. And after the game, like before I said anything, he said, yeah, that one turn is really weird. Like you made some mistakes in that. You had the game under control. I was like, thank you for acknowledging what I already know. Like that one
big game
turn
jitters?
did cost.
Did you have the Kirk Cousins big game jitters?
No, I don't know. I just got a little sloppy for a turn, and that's all it took in that evenly matched game to cost me the game.
Do you think
But
that's the
even-
problem with dwarves though? Is that if you do get sloppy for a turn, it's hard for them to crawl back because of their speed?
Yeah, harder than other teams for sure. I've had this conversation with someone recently too, where it's like, yeah, dwarves are great as long as you don't ever make a mistake.
So I'll never play dwarves again. Got it.
Yeah. But it was a fun game. It was to start off the tournament with such a challenging game was pretty intense. And then I was kind of beating myself up a little bit after the game because I felt like I threw the game.
You shouldn't beat yourself up, Brian.
I know.
It's not. your
But
fault.
even with my close win and my casualties and stuff, I moved up tables. So
Well, 77. It's not. Can't really go
right.
lower.
But there's a theme. I'm planting
Planting the
seed.
seeds.
yes for
Long-term
story element
storytelling.
later.
I remember 1977. It was a good year.
Star Wars came out.
Yeah, I saw it from inside a womb. And
Lost
So
best
my
picture to
quote-
Annie Hall, I believe.
A very famous quote: "We don't talk about Mrs. Pilatus's womb."
No. Did I say that?
Yes, you did.
Uh, You have a good memory, Mike.
I was talking about. You were talking about. Somebody was talking about you and Dean. I go, well, they shared a womb.
Oh,
You're like,
yeah, yeah.
We don't talk about Mrs. Pilatus' womb, and I was like, but your tone changed. And I was like, oh, he's serious. Okay.
Well, not at the same time, at least.
No, there was 10 years. He had that apartment right after two others had the apartment. And, it got gentrified. It was beautiful inside. It was lovely. I played Biron and I won. I was great and he was shit. So
Yeah. No, you were very nice after. You were very magnanimous in your victory.
but just in general, my entire time, knowing I'm playing Griff, I'm like, I have to have a certain level of, what's the word? Like not apologetic, but like humility or no. Like a
Yep,
certain,
yep.
I'm always felt like I'm trying to.
You felt like you have to apologize for every
Yeah.
touchdown you score.
Yeah, I did. I did every game. That kind of preemptive. I'm going to be a cock, just letting you know. Like, what do you mean? Oh, dwarves? That's not where it ends.
Yeah.
It's not where it ends, my friend. But anyway. So yeah, that was round one. So Biron lost. He went down from 54. I won. I went up from 54. Extreme lost, but went up from 77.
Hmm.
And Mike moved from the corner of the raffle ticket table to 1 inch to the left
Hmm.
that round. So he's moving up as well.
If anyone cares, the percentage chance that, because it's first round's random, that two of the three of you would have played is 3.707%. So
Oh, because you put 3 in the mix there. Yeah.
Yeah.
any two of you. So
Okay.
about a little less than 4%. So
Not bad.
yeah.
Since we're doing stats, what's the percentage of charity money that went in the pocket that you spend from?
0.
Bullshit. 0.0?
0.0.
Yeah, 3.2% for mine.
Isn't there an administration fee, Mike, that you charge to the
Yeah,
Cancer
it's like,
Society?
Nah.
the people behind MikeMuller.com don't do this for free. We'd love for you to give a little extra. And that extra was like, sploosh.
Oh no. I'm not stealing from cancer babies, so no.
Is it only cancer
That's
for
low
babies
for
that
you,
it's
for
looking
me.
at?
What?
Is it only trying to cure cancer for babies, or is it adult cancer too?
It's adult cancer, yeah, but yeah.
There's actually an
I'm
easy,
less. People are less concerned with that.
like there's an easy way to steal and not feel bad. All you do is give one less raffle ticket when people buy them.
That's the skim.
That's all you do. No
I
one
did that
wants-
once. I was talking to the person. I gave the raffle tickets. I was like, "This feels light," and they're like, "Yeah, you only gave me 8." I was like, "Oh shit."
Oh, man. Like, in skee ball, when a couple gets stuck in there, that got stuck in my pocket. I'm sorry. You can try to pull it, but it's going to rip. Round 2, by Ram.
I moved down to table 77. Sniffed the seat that was occupied by Extreme before sitting down.
The same one, just the other one.
I don't know. I couldn't tell by the smell. The Frenchman, or it didn't smell bad, so I'm suspecting that it was Extreme seat.
What's cleaner, a foreigner that just took a shower or an American that played 4 games in one day?
Ooh, I'm gonna say the foreigner in this case.
Okay, well,
But yeah, I played game 2 against someone who's clearly a super vet who was playing right next to his buddy, who really knew what he was doing. He was playing Amazons, using it looked like a third party team, but it looked great, really great paint job. It was fun to play against. He was I told him this is, I'm relatively new and I'll have dumb questions, but a couple times I had to say, doesn't Dodge help here? He's like, oh yes.
and these are the old Amazon rules, right?
Yeah. The new ones
The new ones just
came
dropped
out.
today, so
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they look fun too, but
Okay.
yeah, he beat me it was a 1-0, I think, loss. So I actually improved my standing by only losing by 1. But it was a fun game. A model of his broke, and it wasn't due to me this time. He spazzed out and broke it. I didn't spaz out and break it. But he actually called me out because remember I was using that Sidewinder guy as an alternate sculpt for a catcher. He's the Forge World Wood Elf receiver star player.
Star player, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, how did you get him on your team? I go, what are you talking about? Blah, 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 Sidewinder. I'm like, oh, no, he's just an alternate skull. He's just a catcher. So he had an eagle eye to make sure I wasn't pulling shenanigans.
Did you lose sportsmanship for that?
No, I don't think so. I don't know how best sportsman's awarded. Is it just given to someone who finishes low and is
Yeah,
going to
question
about
for the
it?
staff, Mike. I'm listening for the awards because I wanted to leave early and I'm like, let me stay because obviously I'm awesome and I should win that. And I didn't hear my name called. And I'm like, wait, I wasn't even the fucking nominations.
Because Griff lost you a nomination.
Yeah, Griff's gonna. You bring us. Yeah, you bring Griff. You don't get it.
Yeah, but you're deciding that?
Did
No,
it-
heavens no.
Did it go to a stunty team that didn't take Tree
To
Man?
quote Booger from Revenge of the Nerds 2, who decides the standards? Who picks sportsman, Mike?
Jeffro.
And what data does he have?
I don't know.
Whoever gave him the most edibles?
I'm just saying, I mean, say what you will about the early Chaos Cups. Tom did have that on the score sheets to add, I mean,
He had it, but it was the most complicated and incorrect way to do it.
Was it like
Yeah.
the painting awards for a romantic event run by?
That-
No,
that's fine.
he had, if you are the best sportsman, you get 1.
Right.
If you're the worst sportsman, you get 5.
yeah.
Because
Lowest score wins. I don't get it. Yeah.
yeah. And
Well,
like
I-
I would get these sportsman scores that I'm like, mathematically, it is impossible to get that number. So, and if you didn't vote, you got 0,
Right.
which actually helps you.
Yeah, it makes you win.
Zero's close to 1. So, yeah, I just thought there'd be like, I really honestly thought at the end, before we turn it in, it would be just a simple circle your favorite opponent and turn them in. I
Well,
thought there would be that.
for 160 people, that takes fucking forever to
Yeah.
calculate.
Yeah.
Someone's got to be dedicated to doing just that. After all the score sheets are done, it's a pain in the ass.
Well, it's not 160 because there's at least one person I know of who is not going to win.
Well, but you still got to look at the sheets.
Right.
Sportsman is on paper, it's a very important award, but reality, it's a pain in the ass to calculate at the very, very end when you're trying to do all this other shit.
And who really gives a shit?
Well,
Mike, I agree with you on that because I mean, on a half the size scale, I remember counting up individual tick marks. So there's 38 people all with 1. Fuck you, you're not winning, obviously. So then it becomes, does anyone have 2? Okay, you're automatically the winner until I find someone with 3. That's kind of, you're right. It's not clean. I just expected,
In a smaller tournament, it's fine, but something that big now.
if there was an award, I expected it, like circle your favorite. That's all. Doesn't matter.
Somebody many years ago ran a tournament and decided that you had to come up and tell him stories of good sportsmanship.
I
Otherwise,
actually
didn't
like
care.
that. That's a good idea. Whoever came up with that idea.
What about erotic sportsmanship?
I don't like that, even though that's somebody's you extreme, obviously, you're saying.
Because then it invites conversation with weirdos.
Yeah, I don't like it because I don't want to talk to the tournament. You have your job, I have my job. My job is to win. Your job is to get shit done right and stay on time. I don't want to talk to you. You don't talk to me. That's the
That
tournament.
sounds
how
like the
fun
kind
it's-
of attitude of someone that's not going to win best sportsman.
I've won a sportsman before. There was like 3 people, but I won. Because I wasn't first or second. It was I think I won sportsman, I think 37 years ago, but it was a good day.
But I was pleased that the person I played second with the Amazons was an out of towner and they were planning their dinner plans and they're like, we got to do Portillo's. I'm like, good call.
They say Portillo's at all or no?
No, they said it properly. But then I'm thinking, you know what? Portillo's isn't as good as it used to be since it
They don't
became.
They don't know.
I think I like Bona Beef better.
No,
No?
I would never go to either, but no.
Bona beef. You want to have the discussion? We'll have the fucking discussion. Better beef, and they got blue motherfucking cans. There.
I don't even know what that means. I have never once said, let's go to Bona Beef.
But you didn't bitch when we went there every Monday before.
Mike, that's completely false. We used to go
No.
there weekly. So at no point did
Well,
you.
we went there weekly because that was where we went. I would never choose to go there.
You
Yeah,
went,
you got
I've
the
not been
pizza
there
anyway.
Since we stopped going there.
so you're saying all this time you ate Bona beef against your
And you were
will.
just
Not
furious
against
at
my
us?
will, but it's just like I would, if you would have said, let's go to Garibaldi's, I'd be like, yes.
And we did
Oh,
once.
Would you say let's go to Garibaldi's?
Well, we always went to Bona Beef. You guys liked it.
Yeah, but I didn't know you felt so strongly against.
I'm not saying
them.
I feel strongly. I'm saying on my own, I would never ever choose to go there.
Noted. Now I know. See, I knew you hated tomatoes and pretzel buns, and now I know you hate Bona, and I'm shocked it took me this long
I
to figure
don't
it out.
hate it. I will eat it. If someone says we're going there, I'm like, yeah, sure.
The reason I
I
thought you
have
might
to-
like it, Mike, is because you usually got the pizza and has tomatoes in it, so it must be special in
Yeah,
some way. to
so
you.
No,
Mike's
it was tolerable.
I like that. Mike's eating pizza he can't eat at Bona Beef he doesn't like.
Exactly.
How self-loathing.
Well, that tells
are
you how little I care about the beef.
Like, how much punishment do you want to inflict on yourself? I'm gonna order shit I don't like, shit I can't eat at a place I don't like. Fuck everybody.
And then I can go play Mantic with models that look
And
like
I'm gonna,
shit.
and I'm gonna play
We're
with
gonna
people.
go to,
I'm gonna play to people I don't like at a store I don't like. Extreme. Let's get the Bona Volanto family on the phone real quick so Mike can express his concerns. I think it's Bona Volanto, I believe. Anyway, they serve Pepsi, so they got blue can too, which that's great.
oh, that's what you meant. Okay.
Yeah,
Fuck
love
that
it.
shit.
Bona Beef's fantastic. I would love some in Iowa. It's great. Extreme, your game too?
My game too, I moved up a few tables. I was in one of the little tiny rooms toward the bottom of the standings. But I played some Chaos Dwarves.
What did you play again?
I played against some Chaos Dwarves.
I didn't hear anyone playing Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I call them. But I was able to secure the win. I won 2-1 and started my climb, or continued my climb, I guess, up the tables.
How'd you deal with the Bulls?
I kind of just gummed them up a little bit and let them sit around and do nothing. He didn't give either of them a break tackle,
Yeah.
so I wasn't too worried about them. I was like, if I sit down and I see a roster, it's one of those things like there's a big orc one too, but if I sit down and play Chaos Dwarves and you didn't give your Bulls break tackle, the game just got a lot easier for me.
Yeah.
The other
Why
thing
is that the
they're-
case for someone who's not that familiar?
because they have a low agility, so if you're not worried about them dodging out, you can just feed a lineman to them, and now you're not worried about their speed because they're not going anywhere. The other big thing is like classic orcs. If you gave all of your black orcs block, okay, you made the game easier for me. You should go 2 block, 2 guard, and then it's very difficult.
The last tournament I was at, I was playing Black Orcs, the team, and I gave 3 block and 3 guard. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just do that same strategy. It was 3 and 3. Kind of didn't work.
Yeah, black orcs are a tough team.
Yeah.
There's potentially a league starting locally, and I think I'm going to play black orcs because I'm very interested in them, but they're not an easy team at all.
Yeah.
They look cool. They look like a fun.
The
That was
team
my
looks
one big
good.
blowout win. Spoilers. It was against Black Orcs.
I also played Chaos Dwarves in round 2. My opponent, Seth, great guy. Fun game, good back and forth. He knocked over Griff and fouled him and killed him. And that's what you do.
It's
I
what
said,
you should
great
do.
job. I told him, I go, great job. I go, you're probably going to win, because it became I got my runner, which he wasn't bad. He did okay, but then it became from a bull centaur thing. Obviously I don't have the speed. And to your point, Brian, he had one with sure hooves. I'm trying to think if it was these hooves or the back hooves. Were they feet or were they hand? Oh, one sure hands and one sure feet. Is that? I'm pretty sure that's what he had. Or they come with sure feet, right?
Yeah, come with sure.
Okay, sorry. One, but no block, right?
Yeah, no block.
Okay. One had block, one had sure hands. He did a fantastic job of always keeping them away from me. So I never, having movement 4 guys as a team essentially of all long beards, if you will. I was really rarely able to actually ever mark him, so to speak. So
That was the other thing of note, I guess, against my opponent. At one point, he mentioned he was borrowing a team from one of his friends, and as we were playing, it was kind of clear that he wasn't like a veteran Chaos Dwarf player. Like was somewhat newer to him.
I think the guy played, I think he's from, where is Mount Vernon?
Washington?
No,
He
it's
said-
in
No.
Illinois.
He said, I go, where are you from? I don't mind giving other little small talk here, and I like to instigate it, I say, where are you from? Oh, down south, Mount Vernon. And I was gonna say, isn't that like Virginia? But I didn't want to sound stupid, so I just let it go.
Like I know the Vernon Hills of Vernon Hills. I didn't know there was a mountain.
I literally, like, he's like, down south. I'm like, I thought it was in Virginia or some shit. I don't know.
It's south of. It's on 57, just a little southeast of St. Louis.
Okay.
So it is below the Illinois Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Route
So,
80 for those who don't know.
so is it like St. Louis suburb?
No, it's I don't know,
Okay.
about 30 miles away.
Okay. So I didn't, so he's actually Illinois. I didn't
Yeah,
realize
it's
that.
like halfway between St. Louis and Evansville.
Okay. I did not realize that because I didn't want to sound stupid. Like, yeah, I know Mount Vernon.
But there is Mount Vernon in Virginia.
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you.
the
Thank you.
famous one.
I'm gonna
the
be like,
famous
wasn't like George Washington there? And he's like, I don't think George Washington went to Illinois. I'm like, were you there? I wasn't there. I don't think he went there. So yeah, he actually, like I said, he fouled Griff. I had a good chance to tie it. It was his to win and mine to hold a tie. And I tried really hard to hold that tie. And I thought I was able to get it, but he ended up winning. So once the Bulls get down there, I had no chance. My runner became a safety, because of his movement, and just took him out. So knock him down, and now he's the same as a lineman, basically. So I ended up 1-1, or at the end of round 2, 1-1. Mike, what did you do during round 2?
Same as round 1,
Okay,
but with less enthusiasm.
okay. Do you have any more Diet Cokes, or what was your?
I have actually cut back on the Diet Cokes. I didn't bring any with me.
Oh,
Thanks, inflation.
yeah. Side note, and I'm happy for you, I'm Mike. I'm we'll say for health reasons, but also saving money too. Am I wrong to assume there should have been like push water stations throughout filled with?
Yeah, they had
water?
none.
I was
water?
really surprised at the
I was
lack of
shocked by
water.
that too. Yeah.
They
Um,
had a couple that were there empty. I saw in some of the rooms.
I made a comment. A Canadian guy said, "The sink's right there." I'm like,
I'm not drinking out of the sink.
dude.
And it's
So
hot water that comes out of the sink.
I bought water bottles. At one point, I thought they were $2 each, and I went to the girl. I'm like, I got more. She's like, no, it's fine. So I got 2 for $5. Made me feel like I won, and then I poured them in my water jug. But I kept thinking I should be able to fill this up with ice water for free. At least I know they get empty. We've all been to Adepticon. I know they get empty, but they should have started full, and they started empty.
I started filling my water bottle up at the drinking fountain. That's how ghetto it was.
Yeah. You gotta it takes 3 minutes, but
I don't understand why we brought in enough fucking money to that place. Why is there not water?
Well, their money intake was severely inhibited by the fact that they didn't take credit cards for their $10 hot dogs.
they didn't. Oh, it's right. The credit card machine was not working.
But it was for my benefit because it also wasn't working at the parking lot that charges for parking. So I couldn't pay for my parking that I didn't have to pay for because I didn't know that other lot was okay to park in.
By the way, nobody was allowed to leave the parking lot because your digital key is deactivated when you check out. You need to leave that activated for people to leave your establishment.
Yeah.
Just
I didn't
a
know
thought.
about
Every single time. What room? The 201 doesn't matter. It's just trying to leave. Just trying to leave.
Open the fucking gate.
I already stayed for an hour for announcements, just trying to leave. It's already fucking 4 o'clock, just trying to leave. Getting out of that place is a fucking bitch. That's round 2. We then have lunch, and Biron, myself, Extreme, and his boy Alex went to Dave and or Buster's.
Did you notice it was like a 10-mile walk to our table, but there was a shortcut that was 1 mile to get out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's part of it. That, like the manager, that old guy.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, what brings you in? Football, beer, what are you doing? I was like, I just want to eat. I'm like, I don't know. And I think that's part of it because he looked like the manager.
Yeah.
They want you to walk around.
Oh, look at the pool table.
Like, oh shit, they got the fucking strength machine. I need to get in that.
It reminded me of the scene in Pulp Fiction where they go into the restaurant and they walk around the entire thing to get to their
Their booth. Yep.
Yeah, I want to get that $5 shake too. Yeah, pretty good. So we eat our food. Extreme and I both got a Guinness to remember the good old days. Extreme got 1.5.
You got a 1.5 Guinness. Yeah.
We talked the fucking waiter.
I'm sorry that he doesn't know how to bartend properly. He's like, oh, that was really foamy. Let me top you off. I'm like, okay.
Let me top.
You should have got, okay, one more pull.
I just love the expression, let me top you off. I don't know why that sounds.
Maybe that's code for something like backing into a spot.
It just sounds like 10 other things besides what it meant.
Yeah.
So we had our meals, went back, got in the action. Round 3, Byron, go ahead.
I played against a Fnatic team with 3 Fanatics.
Yes, 3.
3
Oh my
Fanatics.
gosh,
It
I
was
love that roster so much.
he was the one who won Super Bowl, wasn't he?
No, he took second place at Super Bowl.
Second
He
place
also
at Super
won
Bowl.
Best Sportsman.
Yeah. Minnesota guy, I think, just judging by the logo. Because I talked to him
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit at Dungeon Bowl at Adepticon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that too. But yeah, he played that, and I managed to pull out a 1-0 win or 2-0 win. His Fanatics did not do what they needed to do. They did what I would needed them to do, which is hit their own guys.
Didn't he lose one to
Yes,
like a-
the pitch invasion.
Pitch Invasion?
Pitch
Yeah.
invasion knocked over a Fanatic, and when they're knocked
Yes.
over, they're knocked out.
I was
Oh.
asked that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yep. So that worked pretty good. And then he lost the other one went off for secret weapon fouling or whatever the thing
Yeah,
is.
your weapon. Yeah.
The secret weapon thing went off for that. So
Did
it
he
was
have
much
bribes?
easier in the second half.
No bribes?
He managed to stay in with a bribe, but it just what his Fnatic ended up doing was doing a circular dance orbit around one of my war dancers.
Oh.
He was just doing it literally, just kept rolling the circle.
When we get to my game, I'll tell you how a Fnatic did not dance. Like
But
that.
he came in with the right attitude. He's like, I brought fits and here to have fun, and that's what I'm doing. So yeah, it was fun.
Is it because you had a Minnesota connection?
Yeah. I didn't
What was
tell
his
him that though.
Wait, what was his name?
I
Is it
forgot
Rich?
his name. I forgot all their
Oh,
names.
hold on a second.
I remember my last opponent's name. That's
It's
it.
like Rich or is it Duder? One of those guys.
No, it's not Duder. Hold on 1 second. I'll get you his name.
Alright.
I forgot his
Think-
name.
They have that aggressive Minnesota logo, like the spiky Minnesota state shaped logo.
You know what I noticed after moving around a little bit throughout the country, I noticed that a lot of other states that aren't named Illinois like to use their state as a logo.
Maybe because the Illinois outline doesn't look cool.
No, I think everyone who lives in Illinois fucking hates their life,
Yeah.
and they just don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
But people that live in Illinois don't like.
Like Iowa, there's
I love the
logos,
border states more than I like Illinois.
There's all these state outlines that are logos for other things. And then Illinois, it's like, nah, we're not fucking bragging about this shit.
I like when they make the Illinois head look like part of Lincoln's head. That's the only thing I like.
I thought it was like more like a Bluto chest, like Popeye Bluto,
Yeah.
like pumped up at the top.
Skip leg day.
Right, yeah. No fucking leg day.
But yeah, that game went in my favor. The dice were in my favor for that game.
Sure.
The fucker's name is Griff Oberwald. So
Oh, I took him.
update your NAF fucking ratings.
Wait, what do you mean?
I looked
It's
him
a-
up on. I
It's a
looked.
default name.
Yeah, it's a
If you don't
default
put a
name.
name in, then you're Griff Hopperwald.
Oh. Did you say
I'm
Aber?
guessing-
Wait,
I
Extreme, you said
did. Let's move
Aberwald?
on. We have 6 games to cover. If we keep getting diverted
Yep.
because I said something
Yeah.
funny,
Wait,
we're
real
never
quick,
gonna get through 'em.
Aber?
Comment below on what
We're from
Brian said.
Illinois, so it's Oberwald. It's Oberwald if you're from Wisconsin or Minnesota.
Okay. I played Patrick Wynn, nice guy. I've known him for a while. He's in
Oh,
our-
yeah, nice guy.
yeah, in our
Member
fantasy
of our fantasy football league.
Yep.
Oh,
good
is he?
guy.
Yes.
He had Underworld and he had the Verminator, and it fucking wreaked havoc on my whole team and killed Griff because he's got 5 rolls plus go for it, and that was not dancing, Buron. He was aggressive,
Yeah.
and so he did a great job. So yeah, I at that point was 1 and 2. not looking great for the Griff Dwarves.
Yeah, we had the same record at that point, oddly
Yeah.
enough.
Round 3. Oh, extreme. Sorry.
Round 3 for me was my 300th tournament game with Dwarves.
Oh, congrats.
Not recognized by NAF, but 300 tournament games.
What do you mean not recognized? Is that like the FTW belt?
Because I played some non-NAF coaches over the years. So NAF wise, my final game of Chaos Cup was 299.
Wait, so in the NAF, there's the number they give you. You have your own number you've been counting all this time?
Do you count
Yeah.
one-offs against Alex?
I have a spreadsheet of all the people I've ever played, their team name, casualties in the game, and things
If
that
you lost
NAF
that
doesn't keep
spreadsheet,
track of.
would you cry if you lost that spreadsheet?
I would be pretty sad. Yeah.
I'm in your spreadsheet.
Yeah, you are.
Is it a Google Doc?
It is.
Oh, imagine it getting hacked and just fucking ruining it.
It just has all losses to the Bussy Woods Dandies.
It's got all L's, but then the L's spell out like loser as well, like the L's. All right, well, I'm glad you got your 300th then.
Oh, and the
Thank you.
Amazon team did have a star. Who's the giant, like, crocodile lizard man looking guy with prehensile tail? Star player.
Little Billy. Oh, that's
Zote?
I think it's called Catch Me If You Can.
Is it Zote?
I don't know.
yeah.
So I played star players in every game.
Is it Silly Billy or Sleebly?
I don't know.
There's a Saurus star player that I swear is like Mandela effect. I swear I read it as Silly Billy, and then one day I'm like, I think it's Sleebly. Extreme, any insight?
Silly Billy. Or if you're from Illinois and you don't pronounce S's, I guess Illy Billy.
Yeah.
What about Slybly?
No, that's an S too. So
It's actually Sleebly.
Booyah.
I believe it was changed.
Oh, it
I
was?
think-
So it's no longer Silly Billy?
Well, I think in the LRB days it was Silly Billy, and then they changed it to Sleepy Lee or
So-
whatever.
For
Sleebly.
clarification, is it the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstain Bears?
Berenstain.
There's no
Bear-
stain.
No.
Berenstain sounds like something horrible happened to your pants. My
There's
round
no-
3
there's no stain.
opponent,
I'm sorry.
whose name was Ryan, was an awesome guy. He was playing halflings, and they
Is
were
that
all
Munchops?
yes,
Yep.
and they were all surfer themed.
Oh,
It was a
cutest
absolute
player at the tournament.
yeah.
He gave himself that award. And I confirmed it.
It was a blast of a game. He had Deep Root and Carla on his team. Within the first 3 turns, I'd taken out a Treeman and Carla. So he could have like got sour and been disappointed, but he was a very upbeat and it was a really fun game. But I did what dwarves do to halflings and
Yeah.
won and moved on.
Is Carla Zara or no?
No.
I don't know.
Okay. I don't
She's
know.
like her little sister that didn't quite get all the food.
Okay. I don't know her rules. I didn't. I know I saw her name on a bunch of rosters. So I thought,
Yeah, she's like a baby Griff.
Yeah, Baby Griff.
okay.
Zolcap the Zote is the one I played in Amazon. It's the star player.
Extreme wants us to keep it rolling. He doesn't don't
Yep.
bring up bullshit. We're
I
past-
did the same.
Round 4, Biron.
Round 4, the final game of the marathon of day 1. I played a Black Orc player, a total Chad looking guy. Like not bald fuck, like 2 built, like look like probably ex-Marine looking guy.
Oh, I know that guy. He stood
Yeah.
out because he's a good looking guy.
Yeah, I played him. He played Black Orcs. That was my luckiest game, I would say, which also caused my later downfall because I did some word answer bullshit leaping into a 4. He had his star player with the ball and then 4 Black Orcs around it in the cage, and the word answer leaped in and stripped the ball. And I scored. That's the one I got. I got 3-0 in that, but he was super cool about it. And I actually was pulling like I kind of apologized because the word answers did some stuff they should not have been able to do.
Were you trying to act cool because he seemed cool?
Yeah, I was on my good behavior or my like nerds, not like us guys. We're the cool guys here.
His NAF name is Gripped and Ripped.
Yep, I could see it.
Biron? Is?
No,
No, his opponents.
Side note, one of my friends used to play games with, I talk to him periodically, but from the old group, the old Graham Crackers days, his email was AOL and it was strongandcut@aol.com. I'll never forget that for my entire life.
But yeah, we were playing in one of those rooms that we were playing north-south. But the table was too big, so you had to do a lot of reaching, and that's when I started going, you know what, maybe sideways side saddle is okay if the tables are not perfect.
If we want to do a quick little sidebar extreme, if we have time.
You're the executive producer, you tell me.
Yeah.
I'm not in charge of time. No, I just sit back and collect the money. You're the actual producer. You're the one that does to do the work.
No, that's Byran.
And what are you?
I'm nothing.
You're assistant producer because now you know how to do video editing. So if I die, it's on you.
I'm the guy that won't stop showing up.
But yeah, Byran, get that sound clip of him saying, "I am nothing." I want to use that.
But yeah, I did actually not mind playing side saddle, except for the thing you brought up, which also happened to be as well.
Yeah. Listen, I know the answer to what I'm about to say is that's my fucking problem. Don't be a fucking moron. That's fine that that's the answer. But I feel how I feel. When I play side saddle, at least one time during the game, I will make a mistake because of eyeballing something wrong. That's on me. I know that's on me. I'm not blaming another person, but it's a situation where I know I would not make that mistake if I played long.
The stun versus knockdown.
I had one of my players I just assumed was stunned. Could I have went like this, leaned over and looked? Totally. I just didn't. I was like, he's stunned. At the end, they're like, why'd you stand? One time it was actually Griff. It's crazy. The guy's like, why'd you stand up Griff? I'm like, I don't want to keep him safe. I don't want to tell him I fucked up. I sound like a fucking moron. And then another time, the guy, it was on a larger base and I'm on small bases. And I only had, I think I thought it was Griff because he's like the only model I have on a larger base. Whatever it was, or maybe it was Reaper, whatever it was. There was a guy on the ground that I didn't stand up because I thought it was one of his. I don't remember the actual, but I didn't stand him up because I'm like, oh, it's his guy. I could have stood up from my chair, looked over, and made sure. I didn't do it. And there was a couple,
especially later in the first night, you're like, I don't even care anymore.
And there were a couple like where I'm trying to be maybe symmetrical on a setup that I'm like, oh, wait a second.
This guy's one off, you know.
That's one off. Why is he one off? Because I'm looking at it fucking sideways. So again, all my issue.
If the table is too big, I'd rather play side saddle. If it's because the one table run, and it was the one that was sliding around the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the worst. I played on one of those too.
Yeah.
And so we had like 3 games, and because the tabletop wasn't connected to the table, if the person at the opposite end and the person on one end were both leaning at the same time, the whole table would spin.
Yep.
Oh, was that on the orc racing tables?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I never had to play in there. I was always in way higher rooms.
Yes, you were.
But listen,
yeah, so that was my 2-2, and I was getting cocky. So that was my game.
I played this guy. I thought it was Dustin. Actually, Destin is his name.
Destin, yeah.
I think he's with the Florida group. I believe.
I can look it up. Yeah.
Really nice guy. I actually forgot what team he had. But it was one of those moments where I think he had not nobility. I really can't remember it. No disrespect to him, he's a great opponent. But Griff basically just fucking had his way with him. I mean,
He had Lizardman.
Oh yeah, Lizardman. Thank you. I will say this. Again, it's all Griff, not even me. But there were a few moments where I'm like, I was clear, as dwarves do with Lizardman. Because he goes, oh, my bane is dwarves and Griff. I go, listen, I always have said Lizardmen are the best matchup for them against dwarves, because when you do one-on-ones, you're going to kind of control the game. I said, I'm going to go after your skinks. You know that. Yep. And that's exactly what I did. So I was trying to go after them, but he played okay. Griff was fucking amazing. And I had a shit ton of great dice rolls.
When you were talking about that, it reminded me of Swingers, where he's like, it's not even me, it's Ronik. Ronik's good.
It's not me, it's Ronik. It's not me, it's Ronik, and I wish in this version we could still make their heads bleed. Ended up winning that one. and finishing the round 2-2. And yeah, like I said, I did this move, by the way, regarding the whole side saddle thing. I have my pitch with me. It's the old school Nurgle pitch. So someone shows up. Most of the time, my opponent showed up without a pitch. Maybe they had access to one or in a different bag or somewhere. Showed up. I go, I'm like, I got one. It's an old one, and it's gonna be small squares, and you usually play long way. And like, I'm gonna go to my room. It's fine.
That happened to me once too. I
Get
got
out.
a cardboard pitch.
Yeah, lay it out. And that way, it's actually the best way, because if they're too lazy and don't want to get their pitch, I win. And I don't have to bring a big one and worry about it and play. So I got 2 out of my 6 games straight on and 4 out of 6 side saddle. So that's a win for me right there. Extreme, round 4.
My round 4 was against, well, first it was a corn team. I played 6 different races in my 6 games, which is pretty cool. But I played Tom Rummery to finish out my day 1, which was fine. I talked to a few different people over the weekend, and they're like, why was Tom so quiet during the game? And usually when I play Tom, he is like a much different Tom playing me than he is playing other people. I think it's like the combination of our energies, but also I don't buy into his bullshit, so he knows it doesn't affect me.
He's a different Tom. Biron, you had some things to say about him after, but
Yeah, I was at the table next to him.
he is nowhere near.
No.
I mean, he is tame as fuck now.
I'm not a delicate flower, but if I was running a tournament, I would tell him, you do that again, you're out.
But Tom he's one of Siegfried and Roy's tigers before they went, killed him.
mean-
But even his toned down version, if I was running the tournament, he would get a talking to and then be kicked out. I would not. Because
So
some of
imagine
these
running a
people at these tournaments are what we call soft boys, and they don't want to be around that.
Imagine running a tournament with him in a family-friendly store and having the manager warn everybody in the group multiple times. And
I
then
would
you
say
have to have a- then you have a-
he would be out. He would be out if I was running it.
Well, then you have a conversation with Tom, like, hey, can you turn it? I don't fucking care. He could kick me the fuck out. It's like, well, he's going to kick everybody the fuck out, Tom. Can you like tone
I'd be
it
like,
down a
no,
little bit?"
I'm kicking you the fuck out.
Yeah, so I played him. It was fine. It
I
was
got
fun.
diabetes and I'm not an asshole.
You
Oh.
still have all your appendages.
Yeah.
We don't know. We assume.
But I won, so I finished the day with 3 wins and a loss.
Tom bought a new hip recently.
Yes, he did.
Was that
Hip
on the
replacements have come a long way.
Was that on the inducements list? The allowed inducements? I didn't see
Yes.
it.
It's
I
still
also
minus
wanna
1
know-
movement, but
I also want to know, like, no joking aside, but like, how much would a toe be? Just one. And does the price change on which toe you want to buy?
yeah. If it's a big
Sure.
toe, yeah.
It
I mean,
should.
If Michael Jordan can play basketball with 9 toes, I think we're fine without a toe.
He has 9 toes.
Yeah, he cut off his big toe when he was a kid playing with an axe.
That's why
He
the
lost
Jordans.
his big toe.
He did that to just go, I'm doing this so other players have a chance.
Yeah.
I would say the original Jordans actually had an extra little piece of stuffing in there to replace a toe.
There was that kicker for the Saints that had all of his toes missing, and it gave him an edge
Oh.
because he had a totally flat surface.
Yeah, he kicked a 60-yard field goal or something with his
Yep.
wood wedge.
They had to change the rules because of him.
Yeah, so you played Tom and
Did.
you won. You beat a KS Cup champion.
That is true. Yeah,
So therefore, you are a KS Cup champion.
I wish, but no. That dream has sailed.
If you had 3 wishes, would that be one of them, though?
Maybe. I mean, do you really need 3 wishes? Like, I don't know. Maybe if you had 3.
I would wish for all the money in the world.
No, you can't do it like that because we all saw that on the Twilight Zone. It doesn't work out.
It does.
No, because then all of the money goes to you, everyone's money, and then money becomes useless.
Yeah.
But my second wish is everybody's dead. But then my third
What's
wish,
this money for? You're just gonna burn it to.
no, so they can see it before they die.
Mhm.
And then my third wish is for 7 more wishes. That's all I want. Just 7 more. got the money, worthless, people are dead. I got 7 more to do whatever I want. Like, I'm talking unlimited ice cream.
So at the end of day 1, the 4-day marathon, 2-2, 2-2, 3-1. What was Alex, by the way, at this point? Was Alex the only one with a filthy tie of our group?
I think so. I think it was 2-1-1 at the end of day 1.
Filthy tie.
That's why I said, how'd you do? I go, I got a clean sheet, no ties.
I'm
I either win or crash, like Ricky Bobby.
usually I always have ties and didn't happen. So I think I attribute my lack of ties to Griff. Because if I had regular dwarves, I'm sure there would have been ties. But Griff is all eggs in
Gives
one
you the
basket.
quick score option, so you can avoid a
Well,
time.
He either dominates the game and I win, or he gets killed and I'm going to lose.
Because all you have is it all linemen? Is all you got is linemen and
I have a
Griff?
runner with nothing
Okay.
to bring out. So, yeah. So it's kind of makes sense. It really is all or nothing. Round 4 ended pretty late. Most people were exhausted. I didn't even play any games afterwards. We hung out a little bit, then went to Portillo's, if you will. And yeah, and that was.
You
pretty
didn't
much
go
it.
to Tourist Pizza?
I didn't have any pizza. I was there. Day 2 is Sunday.
And you just for those that don't know, JP and Brian, you were at the hotel. Mike, you went home each night, right?
I woke up feeling horrible on Sunday. So even though it's super fancy, nice hotel, I'll be honest, my neck, I'm going to physical therapy tomorrow and I'm on muscle relaxers and steroids right now. I really hurt my neck back. I've always had neck and back problems, but every now and then something triggers a fucking pinched nerve, niggling injury, and I'm in tremendous pain right now. And so I woke up on Sunday with that. I'm stretching in the fucking bed. I'm doing like those old like wrestling stretches, like bridges and shit, and like just trying to stretch everything out of my neck. And I was in pain. I got some fake Advil from the staff between games 1 and 2. I don't know how I played. It was like a Jordan flu game, if you will. I don't know how I played the way I did, feeling fucking awful, but I did. And we'll talk about it.
Also, one of the coolest things that happened was the creation of the new character, Chad Bizarlo.
Yeah, we talked to Anthony Sarlo.
Yeah.
Biron, I asked how Brett's doing and where he's at now.
His
Biron
hetero
said-
life partner. Yep.
Yeah, Biron said, is he the guy that's going to identify you based on your teeth when you die?
And then
I
he
was
said
like,
something like, Brett will want to own my skin as a suit or
yeah, I
something.
just said like that's like a dark turn. Let's play some games, guys. Biron always asks questions that involves Sarlo's death, and I just think that's wrong.
But then I told him, I go, you know what? You're my doctor because you're the
I love
doctor
that.
who I've seen the most.
Your hypotheticals always end up with him dying. It's like, but I said I saw him as Doctor Who. I said he's in the top 13 for me.
Mhm.
And I also saw his Star Wars fan film. It was like Sarlo and Brett played a Jedi Knight and a Sith Lord, respectively, doing an odd couple sharing of an apartment. Spoiler, they had lightsaber fights in the apartment.
Mhm.
And I watched it with my pants down and busted the biggest load I've ever had. So we start playing round 5. Biron, what do you got?
Round 5 was, as you pointed out, against one of the Baldwin brothers.
Yeah, I looked over. And by the way, side note, I don't stare at people, but when I look up and I make eye contact later on, I know it's going to happen again. And I don't know why that happens, why we lock eyes, and then at least 3 times later on, it's going to happen again. Almost like we need to check if the other guy's still looking at me.
Yep.
Is it like a squaring up kind of thing? 3 more times I locked eyes, and he kind of resembled a young Stephen Baldwin, Biodome era. So,
Yeah, and he was playing vampires. Or like, oh, it's gonna be easy. Like, nope. He
said it's going to be easy.
no, someone said, oh, vampires, that should be an easy win for you. I'm like, nothing's an easy win for me.
Another quick side note, Strange, we have time. Quick side note. Why do people still do this? Knowing that stunty teams have all these tricks that can make them as good. People still make the comments about, oh, that's easy. Or, oh, yeah, you lucked out in that draw.
But it goes back to your argument of how horrible it is to play stunning teams right now because it's a lose-lose situation.
Because they have enough
If you-
tricks where they're competitive, I think.
If
But
you
even
win, you're
vampires-
supposed to. If you lose, it's embarrassing, but it
Yeah.
really shouldn't be.
Vampires, not a stunty team, but in that same group for people. And people are treating you that you already won. And now you have to live up to that.
And I didn't. I lost 2-0. He
Why
hypnotic
not?
gazed. What's that?
Want to know why? Because vampires are fucking great.
He
as-
hypnotic gazed me to death. I had no tackles, so he was just dancing around me the whole time.
The actual vampire players are good. So to
Yeah.
tell them like, they're not going to do well.
I think they're a difficult team to be good with, but he knew what he was doing. I think, as far as I could tell, I don't know shit, but I think I discovered one of my many weaknesses in Blood Bowl, aside from lack of experiences. I'm not familiar enough with the teams and what their tricks are.
Mm.
Like, I have no idea any of this stuff. I didn't even know what hypnotic gaze did.
Kind of like Todd in our league.
Yeah, I was like, you did what? So I
Yeah,
don't,
the first time he said it, were you unsure on how he spelled gaze?
yeah, I'm like, well, I'm the dandies. I'm elves, you're vampires. Good work. But he wanted to go a little bit into the lore. Like, see, they have these. He put these little signs on each thing, like a meat locker, and they had their number on it because he did chomp a few of his own guys, but not many. Not many at
Oh,
all.
like
He
he
made
made
those
it-
rolls.
Like he made the thralls like feel like they should be eaten.
Yeah, but I think he only one or two ended up being knocked out. The rest were fine, and he successfully hypnotic gazed my guys. He failed one hypnotic gaze, and that was it. So my tree man was useless most of the game.
So at this point now you are 2-3.
Yep.
Okay. I played against. Actually set up against Chris, who runs Summer Jubilee, and we were all waiting to hear about the mix-up with the teams, and it was taking forever. So
It wasn't a mix-up. It was make sure everyone shows up Sunday morning.
It was waiting for people how many drops we had.
Yeah, because you're supposed to get in front of your opponent, and then if you didn't have an opponent because your opponent is hungover or dropped out.
Would you? I mean, again, I'm not one to be an armchair quarterback. Plus, I did the job when it was much smaller, obviously. But could you have a second registration on Sunday just to not have that moment?
Just a check-in, maybe not like a full
Well, you know
registration.
what I. You know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Well, this was kind of the check-in.
But yeah, we were waiting and we kept thinking, well, if there's going to be a drop, it's from the loser tables. So we actually started. I said, hey, you know what? Worst case scenario, we got a little scrimmage, and we got a couple turns in, and we're like, oh, I shifted one up, he stayed there. So,
Yeah, there must have been drops above us because I shifted up.
Yeah.
One.
right. So I was kind of surprised at that we were on table 20, I think.
I
21.
was at my highest table was 43, so that was my highest table.
So you were in the main room for this round?
Second round.
21?
You know what? I take it back. No, I was in the one with Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the room I was in.
You
I was
were
in the-
high up in that room.
Yeah, it wasn't 20, it was 30 something. Yeah. So I shifted over and I played, I believe his name was Richard. He had humans. I said, where are you from? He said, Ontario. And I go, I've heard of it. We had a good laugh.
You mean Ontario, Illinois?
Yeah,
Yeah, the same. He goes,
That's
my
for,
team's
Sarge.
the Reichland Rollers. It's a basic human team. It's super boring. Everything's boring. My whole team's boring. Everything's boring about him. And I was like, yeah, but I said, they look cool. Good job. And we had a fun game.
no star player.
No star player and ogre, and a bunch of, typical layout of human skills. And this was a game where I made a bunch of dumb mistakes from a guard, what square they in standpoint. And this is one I remember where and again, I was dumb. It was also side saddle. I'll take it. I was dumb. But I made a couple of these ones. So I was thinking like, I'm probably going to lose this game because I made some dumb mistakes, but it actually worked out. Griff was untouchable. I will tell you, for the first time probably in my entire Blood Bowl career, I never used a reroll in either half. I only had one.
I went. There were 2 halves total that I didn't use a reroll.
I only had one, and I never used it either half. and I didn't even use Griff's. It was, he had some awful rolling. Because he had humans, so he's failing everything on 2s with rerolls. And I just, yeah. So he was really good opponent, and he kept in good spirits, even though nothing went his way. But yeah, so at that point, 3-2. Stream?
My first game of Sunday was in the big room, in the top room. I had climbed all the way up there and got the pleasure of playing John Stevens, who not only is a very good coach, but it was playing Imperial Nobility, which I find is very difficult for me to play against. And he had Zug on his team.
Zug with Dalex?
No.
Or-
With real noble people with feathers on their head.
Ah,
But the opening kickoff kind of, it sucked because I feel like I'm pretty evenly matched with John Stevens when we played before. I don't know what our overall record is, but I think we've done pretty evenly against each other. But the opening kickoff went super deep and he got a blitz, and I just never recovered from that on that drive because he's faster than me. And then after that, the next kickoff, the weather changed to pouring rain. I was like, well, that sucks because now I need 2 touchdowns to win in the pouring rain. This probably isn't going to happen. And it didn't, but I did score. So I lost 1-2.
2 quick side notes that you maybe think of with mine. If we have time, Extreme, let me know. One, John Stevens. He's one of those coaches that for years we played because he was in Wisconsin, I was in Illinois. And I feel that he is a better coach than me, but only like 1 notch better. So when I play him, I always feel like I'm at my best. And I always feel like I can win if I'm at my best. Whereas if I play Vanderby, I don't, you know what I mean? Like I'm not going to win. But he was always one that's like somebody who's like just like right here. So I feel that, he is better, but I feel I could beat him. I feel like I'm in position. But anyway, you mentioned about very sunny. In my game against this guy's humans, we had weather changing, and of course I rolled sunny. He passed, I think, 3 times in the game. And I'm thinking, like, I thought people don't pass, but he ran up. They were quick passes, or short passes rather. At one moment, I was like, I didn't give him a touchdown, but I moved my dwarves over and had Griff as like my safety, but he was on the ground. But he could have gotten up and dodged out blitz. So then I was like, oh man, like you got a clear lane here. I go, I go, Griff is the ultimate safety though. And the guy's like, yeah, but you're just going to let me have this one. So then you can grind it and win 2-1. I said, you're out. And I'm like,
I'd take it.
I said, this is the thing with Griff. Do you want to try to stall and kill some turns and make it harder for me to score, knowing I have Griff that's going to fuck your shit up back there? Or do you just score? The other option was he brought someone over to foul Griff. And I said, you should.
That's the best option.
I go, you should do it. And he hemmed and hawed for a little bit. Not like time wasting or just, I'm like, do it, man. You got to. He's like, with my luck, I go, you have had shit luck. And you might roll doubles, but who cares? He's like, well, then I can't score. And then because the guy will be out, and that's a turnover. I said, it doesn't matter. I said, you get him out, you're gonna have a good chance to win. And he's just like, I can't do it. And so he went and scored real quick.
You know what I would have done? Built my cage around Griff and kicked him in the head.
You would have gone around like a circus seal on him?
You mean
No,
him?
I would built my cage on top of Griff.
All he had was a catcher in six or seven squares away, thrower about to throw to him, and then maybe one random blitzer 4 squares away. He didn't have
So the
enough.
foul, so it would have been a good foul then.
I would have fouled because it's a chance to take him out. His thought was, if I fail and it's turnover, I might lose the ball and not score. But he actually already, would that be called a portent? To already say what's gonna, he said, well, I'm gonna score and you're just gonna grind for 7 turns. That's what happened. I literally at one moment because I had 4 garters, those are my 4 skills. That's all you get with Griff. I'm like, cage. I think I said the word cage. And Griff, 4 garters. He's like, I'm like, nope, that's my turn. And I actually did it more than once in the tournament. And my response is, just come and get me. Well, no, come and get me. I'm
We
going
have
to
a word
start.
answer with strip ball.
I'm going to start making my way over on turn 6. So if you commit, I go the other way. It's fucking bullshit. Griff is awful. He ruined the game and he ruined the tournament. Just saying. For everybody, not just me. But that happened in that game. Great opponent. He got good spirits, even though Nuffle was shitting inside of his mouth the entire game. Especially when the weather changed to sunny too. As soon as he got the ball, I was cracking up. I'm like, of course, the one guy that's passing has sunny now. So Extreme, at this point, your record is what?
3-2.
3-2. I am also 3-2. Alex was 3-2, or no? Oh, Scott Prime was 3-2.
Scott
We were
Prime.
joking about
No, Scott Prime was
At
the
this
top
moment.
table. He was 4-1 at the
Really?
end of game 5. Yeah,
we
he was
we
at
were
the top
talking in the
table.
lobby.
He was at
He
the
took-
top table.
Oh, maybe we
He
were.
told us
Maybe
he was 3-2.
drunk on Zimas because he told me 3-2, and he's like, "Well, we might play
Maybe
each
he was
other."
at the top table in game 4.
Yeah, it was late.
Yeah,
it was
'cause-
earlier. He was at top, but then
Yeah, because round 5, it was Vanderby and Saul at the top.
Yeah, you're right. He was at
We
the
thought
top table
one
in
of
game
us-
4.
Yeah, might play each other, and I didn't actually see him. Was he near our tables, Extreme?
I think he was at the bottom tables in the top room. I don't
Okay.
think he was in the same room as us.
Because I was at the highest tables of the second room. And
Which
you were
was
right next to me.
right. We were so close, and so we were one table away from each other from playing. And then someone, Sean Kelly, who I'm always in that same group with in tournaments, it seems like was 2 tables over. I was like, man, I was so close to playing people I want to play in the tournament.
Before that happened, I went to take a pee, and there's 2 stalls and a urinal, and I was taking a long time to pee because it just happens now, and I had one built up. Someone was in the stall, someone was in the other stall. Grant came in, took the place of the first stall, and the guy in the last stall was peeing with the door open, which is fine. I do that too. Grant then yells out, "Oh, Johnny P and Extreme taking 7-minute pees together because they're fucking old." And we all have a good laugh over it. I'm still shaken off when Grant, that's how quick his pee was. So whatever, baby bladder, whatever, man. And I'm now the other guy in the other stall comes out, and I was like, "Oh, what's up?"
sir.
That was not Extreme. That was a guy who was not wearing a DeForty Minor shirt. I forgot you had that, but he did have on, I swear, was navy blue and yellow and a hat, and had your same build and same piece stance too. And it's not him. It's like, "What's up?" Thinking.
But he was uncut, unlike Extreme, right?
I'm thinking, what the fuck is this guy thinking? We're all talking about this person that is actually him. And he's like, "I'm not that guy, but I did take a 7-minute pee. So maybe I am that guy."
It's even funnier if he doesn't know that Extreme is a person. It's like, Extreme. What's extreme about the way I'm peeing?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Johnny P and Extreme, 7-minute pee is yeah, you're right. Like an extreme piss.
Johnny 7-minute pee at Extreme flow.
Slurp piss, if you will.
They're impressed.
Extreme, okay, so you had your now final round, right?
Yep.
I want to go on record though. Extreme and John Stevens have played 7 games in NAF tournaments. Extreme has won 0.
Oh, okay, great.
John Stevens has won 4, and you've tied 3.
Whoa, Mike,
We're about the same.
Mike, do you have the stats for where we're at in the current human centipede? Who eats whose ass? 'Cause I know
Extreme has definitely eaten John Stevens' ass.
okay. I would love one day, maybe we can have Scott Prime do a commission piece to draw everyone that we know in the human centipede based on whose ass has gotten eaten over the years.
I know I'm 1 game up on Tom Rumry, so that's good.
Extreme and Johnny P have played 13 games, and Extreme has won 9.
He's won 9. I've won 2, and we have 2 ties. No, 1. 2 ties, was it?
Yeah, 2
Um,
times.
I think only Katie is the only person I own. currently. Mike,
Wow.
Well, you technically own me.
that's true. Feel free to verify, Mike, but I think Katie's the only one I own. He's,
Let's
Let's
speed this up because I got to pee pretty soon too.
okay, we'll wrap it up.
Final round.
So my final round, I was hoping to play Johnny, but I got super close, but didn't quite play. But I got to play a Slon team who proceeded to do Slon bullshit, which I don't blame the coach for. That's what you're supposed to
Did
do.
you use that stupid ringer too?
Yeah, we both had the ringer and he had Acorn, which whatever. But yeah, just ridiculous Slon stuff, which I would have done the same thing. I'm not blaming the coach. It just happened to work. And then the ringer, the final turn of the game, was waiting in the end zone for the ball and dropped the pass, which would have been the win for me. But so we tied.
Yeah, ringer's dumb in my opinion. Just no real reason to have a model you can't unassembled. Already there.
My final game was against the guy that traveled the furthest. I played against Milan, the guy from the Philippines who's going to grad school, I think, at Northwestern.
Yeah.
He was playing Corn, I think.
Let me ask you, Biron, which YouTube channel did he know you from?
He didn't know me from any of them.
Oh, weird.
But super nice
From
guy.
both.
He didn't bring a pitch, so I got my pitch, and then I realized that GW pitches don't have the dugouts with them. You got to pack them separately, which I didn't. So we scrambled, and we ended up borrowing the puzzle pitch of the design for the Chaos Cup pitch that they had that they put on because they sold out of pitches. So we
Would've been
actually
better if you turned your sheets over and just drew a dugout on them. That would have been better.
Like G-Dub style?
Yeah.
Maybe
So
use
we
an
played on the puzzle piece, so it was fine. But once you go mouse pad, it's hard to go back.
Biron, which you wouldn't believe it, but back in the day, custom, and I say custom, I mean laminated 8.5 by 11 dugouts were the
Yes,
thing.
I remember we did an episode with those in
They
there.
were the thing.
But we set that up, and that's where I did learn my lesson from Brian's failed crowd surf attempts with his dwarf troll slayers, because I would go down right away before he could surf me into the crowd.
Smart. Stay
Milan
down.
did not have that issue. Milan surfed almost my entire team into the crowd. I had 4 guys by the final couple turns total.
I think there was a couple of moments in our game, Biron, where, I mean, I don't need to tell you what to do. I don't even know. But a couple times I was like, just keep him on the ground. Like, just.
I started doing that. Like whenever
Yeah,
if a catcher went down, I'm like, you're not involved anymore right now.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Now,
You're
there's
gonna
these
get a
moments
stick.
where I think you made the comment of sometimes nothing is the best option. It's like,
Yeah.
just
So he surfed a bunch of
Sometimes
guys.
the only way to win is to not play.
Yes.
stay there and do nothing.
Thanks, Joshua.
Um,
But no, that was fun. But I did do some fun things, even though it was like I was playing for the 2-0 loss at that point, not to lose by 3. I set my goal like don't lose by 3. So I did a catcher long throw to another catcher, contested, succeeded, and almost scored to make it 2-1, but a 2-die block knocked me down. The ball came out. End of game.
yeah, it's always when there's a big play, it's always hilarious when someone sets it up and they fail on like the pick up the ball part.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, isn't it better just to get it out of the way now than to go through all the rolls?
Yep.
Yes.
Like when someone's trying to get the 1-turn score by pushes, and I'm like, man, just fail the first thing. So I don't have to sit through this for 20 minutes. I played against, pretty sure his name was David. I was so beat by the end of this game. He brought dwarves, normal, no stars the right way. And super nice guy, lives in Gurney, I found out. He plays other games, GW games, because we were talking about Age of Sigmar and Epic, the old school type. But I think he's either new to Blood Bowl or new to going to tournaments, because he told me he was super bummed that he was moving to Florida because he just started going to things. And he had a model. I asked him, like, oh, you got did you get it early, the ringer? He goes, no, he went home. I did it last night. I'm like, oh, smart. I'm like, I'm opting out.
I glued mine, so I had him.
I'm like, I'm not using it. I'm like, I have Griff. I'm fine. And it wasn't meant to be a dick move. I just was like, I have my jumping guy already. We're good. And that's kind of what he did. Really fun game though. Awesome opponent. He'd be one of those guys, like if you're running local things, it'd be great to have him show up. He had some funny lines in there. You know, those moments where when you find someone with a similar personality, you can have jokes and references and one-liners without asking if it's okay or checking in first. Like at one moment, he rolled like double skulls. He just yelled out, "Oh, AIDS!" Like he yelled out AIDS. Normally, you wouldn't do that just to a stranger.
Now, unless
Yeah,
you're Tourette's or your name's Rummery.
yeah, you would. And I think I said zoo AIDS, you know, because we were talking about that lately, as monkeypox is. And there's a few of those moments, just a few of those kind of just super great guy though.
Yeah.
Really fun game. And Griff just fucking owned everything as always.
Oh, Milan liked the trick I picked up from you, Mike. For an important role, reveal it just to yourself and then show it. I call that the mic. Milan really liked that.
Speaking on the Dice Cup thing, so when I was playing the Canadian guy, he mentioned that when a lot of times I pull the Dice Cup up fast and it flipped one of them over.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's like from my vantage point, I'm watching like skulls turn to pows. And I'm like, sorry, he goes, no, because I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you what I'm watching. And then but then it got in my head. He wasn't trying to. So then I was like, shh. Then I was like the fucking claw machine.
The Amazon team player I did, he wasn't using a tower or any bullshit like that, but he had a little tray he was rolling into. And he made it clear, like, if it's out of the tray, it doesn't count. If it's cocked and it's barely cocked, I could push it down easy. I'm like, whatever you want to do.
At least he's made his declarations though. Most
Yeah,
people
he
don't.
did. I appreciate that. He was super nice.
Usually we wait until somebody rolls a 1 to say, does that count? Tell me. Don't make me make that call. This guy, by the way, the Canadian guy, had a dice tower. Very smooth. It was a collapsible wooden one, and no issues.
It didn't go
bounce out.
clickety like 10
No,
times.
it did bounce out quite often though. But he didn't make any declarations of what it was. So if it bounced out, it was still, I think one time he missed it. We counted everything basically. But I was happy that the process wasn't Plinko games. You know what I mean? Didn't have Plinko.
And you could put both dice in at the same time.
Yeah, you put both in.
That's for you, Extreme. Your last opponent had the coin slot. You had to put one die at a time.
Yeah, it was like a whole 3D printed temple, but there was just like a hole big enough for one die. So it was like.
When he got up.
So then, like you were saying with your Canadian guy, or the guy that when you're lifting the cup up, one die would go down and I would see a skull, but then the next die would come down and knock that skull into something else. I'm like, oh.
Fuck that.
That's immediate ejection.
When that guy went up to go to the bathroom, did you try putting your dick in that hole or what?
No, I just whipped it against the wall and shattered
Just shit into the hole, so there's just...
Anyways, he's coming back.
Yeah, John,
When
I
he
met
comes
your
back, you're like,
opponent-
what's going on? Like nothing. What were you saying, Mike?
I was gonna say I first met your opponent. He was at Gen Con this year. His NAF name is Mr. Spoofy Pants, which is one of my favorite NAF names.
That's great.
I forgot his real name because it doesn't matter because he's Mr. Spoofy Pants. But
That's
he's a
hilarious.
great
I didn't know
guy,
that. Yeah, it's either, I think it's Dave or David. I'm pretty sure. It's one of those ones where I felt bad after, but I'm pretty sure it was.
My biggest fear is I'd find someone annoying that I was playing against, but the only people I found annoying were at other tables. It was like I felt blessed.
Listen, I'll be honest. I had 6 opponents. They were all really cool, really fun to play. There was only one annoying person at any of my tables. And you're looking at him.
I thought it was me.
Overall.
No, it was me because of the fucking star player. It's stupid.
Would you, I knew you wanted. I knew this was kind of a scientific experiment for you to see. If you were to do Chaos Cup again, would you not take Griff?
I'm never taking him again for any team in the tournament. Well, first off, I'm done. I'm taking a Blood Bowl break for 3 more years. That's one. 2, when I come back, and if this is still what we have here, and everyone's still alive, we still have tournaments and think this is fun. It's not.
I got dark.
Griff won't be on my team. No, because fuck that guy. Dude, star players in general.
No, the signs of suicide. He wouldn't sell us battle foam. He would just give it to us.
Oh, Mike was a good.
No, he's Greek. He's still going to sell it to us.
Yeah.
No, I just
He
don't.
needs the 2 coins for the eyes.
Listen, when you go 4-2 at Chaos Cup of 150 coaches and you finish 23rd, shouldn't you feel like this is the greatest thing ever?
Yeah.
Besides
throughout-
being 1 to 22.
throughout the weekend, you kept saying that, even in the games that you won, you weren't having fun because of
Sure.
Griff. And I think that speaks volumes for the whole thing.
It's just dumb. Like, I will say this too. I was actually, again, cool opponents, credit to them. None of them gave me shit for it. I was like Sarlo level, self-deprecating the whole time.
But
I
not
was
Chad
shitting.
Bizarro that level.
Yeah, not Bizarro.
No, no.
I shit on myself first, but they were like, yeah, whatever. He's tough. We'll figure it out. They were all. I
We'll
just
get through
think
this together.
Star players ruin the game, and they especially ruin tournaments. 100%. Even the fun ones. Take them all out, and maybe I'll show up again.
What if they did like tiers of star players, like ones that
No.
are totally harmless?
No tears. Done with tears.
You can take star players as long as it's Acorn.
Just fuck them. Let the best team win. And while we're at it, let's chill out with the skills too. I saw like 35 fucking rubber bands flopping around in every game. It's like you don't have to mark every single guy, no matter what they have.
I had 2 opponents that were marking skills that their players started with. I was like, no, like I don't need to know these guys.
They
have
kept on
block.
going.
I know they have block."
Did you take dodge on your catcher? No, he comes.
So if you have, here's the rule of thumb for any noobs watching. You want the Johnny P rule of thumb. If you have one of any player type and they have one skill that only they have given to them, you don't put anything on them. Because I know your thrower has wrestle, because he told me that beforehand. And there's not a second thrower out there that doesn't. I don't need to know.
I do like that I painted the rims on my guys. It helps me more than anything.
If you got 4 blitzers and you gave them all guard, it'd be nice to mark it with some green maybe, or yellow, whatever people are using, but it's like if everyone has it, you don't have to mark it. Is my thought. Guard is the one that's helpful because you do a little bird's eye view and you can see
Guard,
the-
wrestle, and like diving tackle.
But I'll tell you
Yeah.
though, Mike, I had green guard on mine and a lot of my opponents had blue. So it didn't matter as much. Because
And
it
what
was-
about people with handicaps that can't see those colors?
Here's a thought. Get rid of all additional skills at tournaments.
Just play pure.
Yeah, play pure. And here's a thought. You have to use GW models or other fantasy football models. No toys.
I didn't run any proxy problems, but I was next door to a couple.
Just play with Blood Bowl-ish models. Play out of the box. No stars. 6 turns aside. Rerolls are double. There you go.
That's
The
called
world's
sevens.
fixed. I don't want to.
Oh, you said you're 11 guys. But make it Blitz Bowl. You have 11 guys, but
No.
you only do 3
Actually,
activations a turn.
one step further. You get 11 and I get 13. That's it. That's my fix. You might say it wasn't broken. I disagree. Anyway, so final records, were we close to our predictions? Probably.
No.
At least the standings about who was higher. Yeah, I mean, me and last came
I-
true.
I completely overshot picked high from because I'm like,
Yeah.
fucking Griff. Like it's not me. So I think I said it'd be like 4 wins or 5 wins, something crazy. Because fucking
I
Griff.
think I was spot on with my record.
3-1-1. No. What were you?
3-2-1.
3-2-1.
I forgot what I even said for mine.
Yeah.
Now, put in the comments below, anyone
Yeah.
who's keeping track.
I think 2 wins is higher than I marked myself as.
I wonder if anyone's made like a Slurpcast wiki with everything we've said. Look it up.
I did run into people that says, "Oh, you're from Slurpcast." I'm like, "You watched that?"
I think of all people, Mike, you could probably start it because you have the best memory. You remember?
Oh, I have the worst memory.
No bullshit. You remember the weirdest shit.
Yeah, but I don't remember the
You're
important
like,
shit.
man, he's like, you had mashed potatoes that one Thursday. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but I couldn't remember the name Cypher Lords when I was talking to you about.
No,
that stuff.
oh, Cypher Lords. Now you
Yeah.
remember. That's
I
right.
had to
You
fucking Google that. So
said the sandal guys, I think. You said.
yeah.
The Chaos Ninjas. That's what I had, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, Chaos Cup, rest in peace, 20 years strong in Chicago, and now it's Florida. Besides seeing the people I enjoy, my other highlight was I got a really cool, I forgot to bring it to work, really cool wooden box. It's got Chaos Cup logo on the side, and it's got Spot for Dice. I'm gonna put dice in there and then never play again. But I'm gonna close the magnets
It's like a coffin for your dice.
It's complete. It's the time
Is it-
capsule. I'm
if you
gonna bury it in the backyard,
if you were a lich, would it be your phylactery?
possibly. Mike, any closing thoughts from you before I wrap it up?
I enjoyed how when Jeffro posted the results in the team name, if they brought a star, he put the star in parentheses.
Yes, I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you could tell how there were only like in the top 60, there's only 17 star players.
Less stars than I thought, so he's
Yeah.
taking that as in his skill penalty was a success. I'm guessing.
Yeah, in the top 10, there's only 2 stars, and one
Yeah.
of them's Bomber. So
I was actually very happy to see Skaven win. I think in the right hands, they're a great fucking team. In the hands of an average coach, they're an average team. So I thought it was cool that he won.
and
a
I
Good
when he
roster.
post, good
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
go extreme.
No, Mike, go.
I was just gonna say in the most touchdowns list, 5 of the 2 through 6 in the top 6 were all Skaven.
Is that the gutter runners? Is that why they're so good?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't see him winning as much as you think.
No, when we started Blood Bowl in the early aughts and the dinosaur eras, Skaven were the team to beat. And then like no one was playing Skaven. And now they're kind of coming back a little.
Yeah, that's why Dean said he's gonna retire them. He's like, can't risk it. He's like, I gotta walk out on top. You're not on top anymore. Well, when I walked out, I was.
When I retired.
I will say that every game I lost was because I got outplayed, and every game I won, I got lucky.
Bad dice, good dice.
Mhm.
Extreme, any closing thoughts?
I had a great time. It was a lot of fun. Again, like you said, like all 6 of my opponents were really cool, so I didn't have any issues.
We're all sick of them. 6 of them, cool.
Cool during our game.
There was a moment when we were standing around for the awards where Tom let this huge fucking fart go. And I think someone tried to walk behind him. He was like, don't go behind me. And then someone thought it was like he's like doing a bit. He's like, I farted, okay? That's what you want to hear? Farted. Like he was mad that he was trying to do the right thing. The right thing would have been to hold it. But
Yep.
he tried to do the right-ish thing by saying, don't go back there. Don't cross this line. And then he had to explain it. And yeah, Mike, good job with you and your staff running everything. By the way, I made a comment. Kilowog said, first Chaos Cup I went to where he didn't lose a game. And I said, I saw Katie yell at you and you looked defeated. And he said, and I didn't reply to him online, but he said, Katie never yelled at me, but I may have looked defeated. I know what I saw. And Mike, you can check with her. Katie yelled at Kilowog
I can't see that happening.
for not talking loud enough to her.
All right,
Speak
well-
up! It was awesome. Because
Maybe that.
he just like crawled away basically after that.
I will say, I walked up, I was going to say something to Katie, and Kilowog and Katie were talking musical theater. And I'm
Mm.
like, oh, I'm not going to interrupt this at all because they're
Yeah.
both in their element. I came back a half hour later, still talking about it. And I'm like, thank God.
Were you like, hey, do you want to be husband 20% of the time?
Yeah.
I'll cut you in.
Yeah.
You can handle all the theater stuff.
You get there when Wednesday night is you get to be the husband because we're playing stupid games.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe, early Tuesdays.
Yeah.
All right, so like, subscribe, smash that sub button, all that. Let's get to 400 subscribers. So Zlurpcast keeps going. I'm not going to be on anymore. Extreme has a show called Real American Brian. A-Rab, correct?
I don't think there's the A at the beginning, is there?
I mean, I'm not one to tell you how to do your show. Executive producer of Zlurpcast, not your
Not
show.
A-Rab. Although you can pass.
I called you Rab, R-A-B, Real American Brian. However, in all of your materials, it's a Real American Brian.
Okay.
So do you want to be Arab or Rab?
I don't want to claim anything that I'm not.
Okay, so watch that. He covers G.I. Joe comics. Biron has French toast chopsticks. He talks about manga. Mike has footlockerwannabes.com. Yeah, subscribe to all that stuff. Pretty soon, everyone in the world is going to have their own, they're going to be content creators. And we're just going to ask everyone to subscribe to each other. And that will be all anyone talks to each other is about.
Flurpcast! Brought to you by Nuffles. Bet you can't just roll a one.